So, let's talk about cells. Now, what are cells? Just like how houses are made up of bricks, all living beings, like plants and animals, are also made up of cells. So, based on that, we can say that cells are these tiny building blocks that comes up together to create life. So, let's talk about animal cells. So, a pretty basic representation of an animal cell is like this. So, you have the cell itself, and it is surrounded by this thin membrane, which is like a skin around the cell. So, this is the cell membrane, which surrounds the cell. So it is a thin skin around the cell which gives the cell its shape and also controls that what goes in and what goes out of the cell. So this is the nucleus of the cell. So the nucleus of the cell controls what the cell does. It contains the instructions to make new cells. And whatever's inside of that cell, which is a pretty jelly-like substance, is called the cytoplasm. So it's like this jelly chemical substance where chemical reactions go on inside of the cytoplasm, and this keeps the cell alive. So yeah, so this is pretty much the basic representation of an animal cell. Now let us look into a plant cell. So a plant cell. So here is the cell body, which is pretty rectangular compared to the animal cell. Just like the animal cell, it also has a cell membrane, which again is a skin that surrounds the cell and pretty much decides what goes in and what goes out of the cell. And again, just like the animal cell, it also has a nucleus, of course. And again, just to clarify, the nucleus controls that what the cell does. It contains the instructions to make new cells. So that's the nucleus. And again, just like the animal cell, it also has cytoplasm, which again is a jelly-like substance where chemical reactions go on inside of that cytoplasm that keeps the cell alive. Now, unlike the animal cell, it has a cell wall. Now, the cell wall, it covers the thin cell membrane, and it is made of tough cellulose, okay, which is a substance and that can strengthen the cell. It also gives pretty much a structure for the cell. Now, again, unlike the animal cell, it also has those tiny green things you see me draw. Well, these are what you call the chloroplasts. Well, these are the chloroplasts. So pretty much they are found in cells and they can carry out photosynthesis, so they're essential. They also contain something named chlorophyll, which captures the sunlight to trap the light energy, which is used for making food for the plant. And last but not least, we got a large cell vacuole. So this is the vacuole. So you may have wondered that why am I keeping a space right in the middle? So this is for the vacuole. Oh, I messed up the spelling. like, I don't know why this happens so much. Like, I do it all the time. Okay, so this is the vacuole. So in a plant cell, the vacuole is way larger compared to an animal cell. So you may ask that why didn't I draw it in an animal cell? Well, you see, they are pretty minor, so you don't but I'm just letting you know that animals do have a cell vacuole, but they're pretty small, okay? Pretty means a lot small compared to the size of an animal cell. Come on, you get me, right? So the vacuole, pretty much, it's a pretty large permanent vacuole that always stays inside of this plant cell, which is filled with a liquid, which is called a cell sap. So let's learn about the differences between animals and plant cells. So starting off with cell wall, and that's unknown for animal cells, but plant cells, they do have cell walls. And chloroplasts, and again, dang, animal team, we guys are losing. They do not have a chloroplast, but plant cells, yeah, they do. Then a large permanent vacuole. Okay, let's just write vacuole. And pretty much, they have a small one, and also, they never contain cell sap, so never contain cell sap. But plant cells, they're large and permanent. Moving on to the structure or the shape. So the animals, the shape can actually vary. So yeah, they vary. But the plant cells, they have a box-like structure. So there will be like, boxy, so it's box-like structure. And the nucleus in animal cells, of course, they both have it, but in animal cells, the nucleus is in the middle of the cell or around that. And in plant cells, they are, you can say, in the side of the cell most of the time, okay? Side of the cell. So yeah, these are the key differences between animal cells and plant cells that you gotta know. So we have two types of microscopes. A common one you might use is a light microscope. Let us look into a light microscope. Well, this is a light microscope. So it's a pretty basic diagram. So you might have used it once, or if you've ever used a microscope, I would say that most definitely you've used this one. So pretty much this type of microscope have two lenses. One is the eyepiece lens, and the other is the objective lens. So what are they? So the eyepiece lens is the lens that is closer to your eye. So this is your eye right over here, and this is the eyepiece lens. Like, there's the eyepiece lens right there, okay? So pretty much what happens is, its job is to take the image that is created by the objective lens, okay? Take the image that is created by the objective lens and magnify it further, which acts like a magnifying glass so your eyes can see the final enlarged image clearly. But what really is that objective lens? So the objective lens is the lens that is closer to the object that you're magnifying or you're looking at. Its job is to gather the light from that object and from a real magnified image inside the instrument. And the eyepiece, it just magnifies it even further, and it is just closer to your eye. So now we know the basics of the cells too, so why not look into specialized cells? Because, like, why not? Well, we are built of many different types of cells, but they look and function differently too. You see, as we grow up from a zygote, our cells go through development, and different types of cells are created as we grow up. Okay, so yeah, pretty much that development, during that development, we say that they're being differentiated. So let us look at some of the specialized cells. So the first one, let's start off from the specialized cells in plants. So let's start with the xylem cells. So in today's video, we're not going to just learn absolute everything about each of them. We're just gonna have a look over them, okay? Because our main topic is already clear. We're just diving deeper. So xylem cells are the small tubes that carry water up the stem. So pretty much you got this flower. Let's draw one. I'm pretty bad at this. So yeah, let's just think that this is the flower. And yeah, um, maybe something like this. I don't know. Okay. So this is the flower. So this is the root. Okay. So pretty much the xylem cells, which are in the stem, they carry the water up. Okay. So that's basically like the blood vessels, but of the plants. Moving on to the, okay, let's just keep that flower. Okay, let's not say goodbye to it so fast. I think I did a pretty good job on this. I don't know. So let's move on to the leaf palisade cells. So they look something like this. Okay, there's the vacuole, and then there are lots of chloroplasts, I have to say. Come on, like, it's filled with chloroplasts. And then, yeah, of course, the cell wall, okay? So I just drew a bit of it, okay? It's really not a good drawing, I have to say. So these are found in the leaf, you can say. So they contain a lot of chloroplasts for photosynthesis. So of course they're on the leaf because the leaf in there the sunlight is captured, so and it is done by the leaf palisade cells. And finally, let's know about the root hair cells. And guess where they are? Root hair cells, of course, in the root, right? So pretty much they are something like this, I would say. Yeah, so they're long and thin, so they can absorb water properly from the soil. So these are the root hair cells over there, and they just take up water from the soil. So you see what's happening? They take the water from the soil, and by the xylem, the water goes up the stem, and then the plant receives water, and then it also captures sunlight, and then yeah, pretty much we're all set. Now let us move on to an animal. For example, okay, guess what animal I'm drawing, okay? It's pretty easy, okay? I don't think that, oh no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not good at guessing animals. Like, come on, it's really easy. Can you guess who that is? Well, that's a human, of course. So let us look into a human, for example. So, oh my god, the hands, let's not look at those. Let's not just look at the human self because it's so poorly drawn. So let's just move on. Yeah. So starting off with nerve cells. So they're like wires, so they just carry out electricity. Okay, so they just carry out messages around the body. You can say so. So these are the nerve cells. They're all around the body, like all around the body, man. Like, I can't just draw every single one of them, can I? Well, I can, but like I would definitely would not. So the nerve cells, they look something like this. Let me just draw a pretty simple one. Okay, not like this. Wait. Okay, so it will look something like this. It's definitely not the best drawing. I would say the worst drawing. Yeah, it has the potential to be the worst drawing. So this is pretty much the nerve cell. Yeah, it got some myelin sheath here. And yeah, it looks like really messed up. Trust me, your body does not have any cell that looks like this. But yeah, this is the nerve cell. Yeah. And then we also got red blood cells. RBC, red blood cells, which have a substance called hemoglobin that carries oxygen. And when hemoglobin, mixes with oxygen, we get oxyhemoglobin. Oh, dang, what was that voice crack? Oh my god. Okay, whatever. So, red blood cells look something like this. You see, it's a bit hollow over there, for which, it increases the surface area, which we are getting onto a bit later, and how surface area increases, or the surface area to volume ratio increases. We'll get onto that a bit later, in the following moments. Moving on to a pretty common one, which is the muscle cells. Okay. Let's just draw this. Yeah, that's it. I don't have to draw much. Come on, yeah, these are the muscle cells. So, muscle cells can shorten to move bones. So, overall, they are actually helping you to move bones. That's it. Yeah, there are a lot of other things that muscle cells help you, but yeah, pretty much you just should know that muscle cells are essential for moving bones. Moving on to egg cells, which is present in only females. So this is, you can say, it looks like the egg cells, and it has a storage of food in its cytoplasm. Okay, and then moving on to the sperm cells, which looks something like this. Okay, not like this, like something like this. It's a tail, so the sperm can swim. So this helps the sperm swim to the egg. So both of them are related to reproduction. So sperm cells and egg cells, both of them are in reproduction. So when they fuse together, they create what we call a zygote, and from the zygote, we develop into humans. Yes, we. So another one we will also learn about is the bone cells, which I don't know how to really draw, but it just looks like this, something like that. Yeah, whatever. Okay, let's just not draw it. So yeah, bone cells. So let's just know something about it instead of drawing it. So bone cells make bone to support the body, because come on, if you didn't have a bone, bro, how will you even stand up? How will you even move? It's just crazy. Each part of your body is just so helpful, except the appendix, I would say. Still, come on, each part of your body is super helpful. And yeah, I would say that we should be proud to be born as humans, even though the other animals are also proud. No offense to them, but come on, we are amazing creatures. Come on, let's just have a moment to appreciate God. Come on, for me it's Allah. So yeah, that's just crazy to think about. So yeah, that's pretty much the specialized cells. Now, there are unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. And just by the name, I really hope that you understood what they mean. So, uni means one. So, pretty much, a unicellular organism is pretty much made up of one cell. But a multicellular organism is just made up of more than one cell. Even if they're extremely small, they can be multicellular organism. So let's dive into unicellular organisms first. So unicellular, which in the name it means that it's just made up of one cell, which is tiny as hell. For example, amoeba. They live in ponds and ditches, and they can move by changing their shape by pushing out pseudopodia in the direction they want to go. So let's draw the amoeba cell. It's crazy to think that how small of an organism can also move by itself. So there is the contractile vacuole, and this is the nucleus, and yeah, this right here is the pseudopodium. pseudopodium, same. So what they do is pretty much it pushes out pseudopodia in the direction it wants to go, and the rest of the cell just flows after it. Yeah, or flows after them. So yeah, amoeba also feeds on smaller things like bacteria, and the pseudopodia flows around the food. The food is then taken to the cytoplasm in a food vacuole, and chemicals called enzymes are added to the food to break it down. So yeah, this is amoeba. Now let's move on to multicellular organisms. Now there is a really small organisms which is called Spirogyra. So it's really small, but still it's made up of more than one cell. So it is a multicellular organism. So it's pretty small. Well, yeah. And one of the most common multicellular organism that you should know, yeah, like you over here, you should know, is you, a human. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. And one thing you should know about is amoeba. So keep in mind what I said about amoeba. It is a really common thing that can come up, and also at the same time amoebas are an important subject to talk about as well. Let's move on. As I've said that I would talk about cell size in the following moments, like the surface area. So yeah, now let's talk about the cell size. So we know that cells are extremely small, so you gotta have a microscope to see them. The cell grows to get bigger, and as it does, the surface area to volume ratio gets smaller. Let's do some maths to understand this thing. You might say, oh, hell no, why am I doing maths in biology? Well, you see, maths is important in everywhere. Physics, biology, chemistry, like everywhere. I don't know about English, but like everywhere, and at least in science. Because after all, maths is the universal language. I sound like a geek saying this, but like, yeah, that's the truth. So yeah, let's learn about cell size. Moving on to surface area and volume. So how do they change, right? So think that you have this cell. Okay, this is definitely not a cell, but like you have this cell which has a volume. Okay, not a volume. Let's have this cube over here, and the length of this cube is 1 centimeter, and this you can think of it as a cell right now. Okay, like right now. Okay. Now the thing is, it is growing bigger and bigger. So over here, it grew bigger, and now the length is 2 centimeter. And again, it grew even bigger. Okay, that does not look bigger. It grew bigger, and now it is 3 centimeter, like the length. So now let's find the surface area of each of them. Now, how do you find surface area? That's the question, right? So it's pretty easy. What you do is find the surface area of one side, then the upper side, and then the the face that's next to it. So this one, and this one. So you just find the surface area of these, and then just multiply it by 2. So you can say the surface area, the formula of surface area is 2L into W, like length into width, or you can also say breadth, and then plus 2 into L into like length into height, and then plus 2 into breadth into height. Yeah, that's the formula. It looks long, but it's really easy. So let's find it. So it's pretty much just 2 into 1 into 1 plus 2 into 1 into 1 plus 2 into 1 into 1. Like, come on, we didn't even have to do it. It's pretty simple, it's just 6. So that's the surface area for the first cube. So let's have them noted down. So it is 1. For the second cube, let's do the same. So it's pretty much 2 into 2 into 2. Okay, let's just write it down like this. Plus the same thing. Yeah, that's it. So what is this? So 2 into 8. 2 into 8. What, 2 into 8? No, 2 into 2 is 4, and 2 into 4 is 8, so it's pretty much 8 plus 8 plus 8, which I don't even have to do the calculation for. It is, well, 24, right? Like 8 into 3, it's pretty much just 8 into 3. So yeah, let's have this noted down as well. So it's just pretty much 24. Hey, why did I write 1 here? It should be 6. My bad, my apologies. For the third one, well, let's do it again. So 2 into 3 into 3. So it's just 2 into 9, right? So it's 18. So it's basically just 18 plus 18 plus 18. Which, if you do the calculation, 36 plus 18 is 44, 54. So it is just 54. Well, yeah. Let's have that noted down. Also, so we have found the surface area for each of them. Now let's move on to the volume. So the formula of volume is much shorter than the surface area. It's just length into width into height. So let's do it. So the length for the first one is 1. So 1 into 1 into 1. So it's 1. That's it. It's that simple. And then 2 into 2 into 2. It's 8. It's that simple. And then 3 into 3 into 3. It's 27. Again, it is that simple. Now, let's compare them and find the ratio of surface area to volume. So over here, the ratio is 6 and 1. And over here, it is 24, 8. Now, you see, we can actually simplify that. And if you do, it's basically just 3 is to 1. And for this one, it's 2 is to 1. Because basically, we're just writing 54 is to 27. And if you just turn it into a fraction, let's just turn it into a fraction. Then it's 54 over 27, and we can just divide it, and it's just 2 is to 1. Yep, pretty much that simple. So you can see that as the cube grows bigger and bigger, the surface area to volume ratio decreases. Because over here, it was 6, and when it just grew a little bit, it became 2 is to 1. So yeah, it makes a lot of difference. Now, we have already cleared up for cells, right? Well, yeah, but why not dive deeper and move on to tissues and organs, since we already covered a lot about cells? Let's do it. So, a group of similar cells is known to be, well, a tissue. And a group of different tissues working together is called an organ. Okay. Well, am I drawing grapes? Let's just draw a tongue and call it out for the day. Yeah, I'm pretty bad at drawing, so yeah, please do not judge. So yeah, that's the tongue. So yeah, a group of tissues, they make organs. Now, all these cells in a tissue looks and work the same, while it's different for organs, because in organs, the tissues look and work different. So it's just made up of different types of tissues. For example, your muscle tissue. Let's just look into your muscle tissue. So your muscle tissue is made up of identical muscle cells. See how that matches up? And a bunch of organs working together is called an organ system, because you see pretty much, for example, you got this stomach plus your esophagus plus a lot of things, and you get your digestive system, right? So exactly just like that, a lot of organs working together is called an organ system. So, and all this organ system together will create, well, an organism, which is you for this instance. Now, what about plants? Although they do not have a proper system as we do, they do have tissues and organs. For example, cells that carry out photosynthesis are palisade cells. Oh, they're rectangular and have many chromosomes, as we have mentioned earlier. They make up the palisade tissue, and all the cells make food for the plant. And this is found in a leaf, and lots of other tissues make up this organ. So yeah, that is it for today's video. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button. Please, that would help me out. And if you're waiting for other videos coming up, also hit that bell button. Tring. And yeah, please drop a thumbs up. That would help me out as well. And yeah, check out these videos. I don't know what they are, but YouTube thinks that you really should watch them. So yeah, it will be worth it. Goodbye.